What's up, guys? Welcome back to Swish Life Garage. Today, guys, I'm working on my 99 Civic. Something I've been wanting to do is fix my check engine light on there. I purchased this vehicle not too long ago, and ever since I bought it and started driving it, it's been having that check engine light. Sometimes it will go off, but most of the time it's going to be on. Right now it's actually off, but what that light is on for, I've already checked the codes, and it's going to be a misfire on all 4 cylinders. I'm thinking more than likely someone has done the timing belt on here. The mileage on this car right now is about 227,000 miles. I do think the motor has been replaced or something has been messed with. Really doubt that it's the original timing belt that is on here. If you guys have been watching some of my other videos, I've just been noticing that some of the stuff here is missing, some of the brackets, and a lot of the wiring isn't bolted on or clipped on correctly, so it makes me think that this engine has been replaced. Already since I bought this car, the valve cover gasket been showing that it's blown, as well as the O-ring for the distributor. You can see all the oil coming out of there. So I am going to be taking off the valve cover, at least changing out these seals. While I'm at it, I'm going to put the engine on top dead center and see if the timing is where it's supposed to be at. Valve cover off, had to take off the ground strap that's held on there by a 10. Got this hose over there you gotta take off, and then the 10s up on top that hold it up on here. Able to get that on off. Now definitely you can tell that the head at least has been rebuilt. See how clean it is? It's never that clean. But then I came over here, I did take off that side cover for the timing gear held on by 2 10s, one on this side, one over here. I was checking the belt for the tightness. This side feels fine. This other side, see how loose that is? Definitely I'm gonna have to fix that. Next, I'm gonna take off these other belts, the one for power steering, then the one for the AC and alternator. I'm gonna be taking off this power steering pulley. Got a bolt over here and a bolt on this other side. Power steering is loose, got the 2 12s, able to move it on over because it does get in the way. Just take the reservoir out of the bracket there and able to get to it. And then took off the AC belt. If you guys saw me take off the bracket, you have that 14 nut that holds on the idler pulley, and that will come off with the washer, don't forget that. And then you do have to take off the bracket for the idler. It has 2 10s on the side there. Usually they are going to be kind of tight. I guess it kind of seize up. I did use the breaker bar, so it might take a little bit of muscle as well for you guys. I do have to take off the alternator belt, and it does have a 12 up on top, which you do have to loosen, and then a 14 nut in the bottom, so you can get that loose and get the belt on off. I am going to raise the car. I'm going to take off this wheel so I have access to the wheel well, and then able to slide up underneath the car a little bit. I did already turn the engine over, so we have it on top dead center, as you can see here. But then if we take a look at the crank, where it's marked at, that single mark should be the TDC mark, and it should line up over here with the pointer. You see how off it is right there. Now down here I'm able to get the harmonic balancer off, and of course you do need the tool for the Honda cranks. You can buy it online for about 25 bucks. I do have a breaker bar on the end of it. Crank bolt is going to be a 17. Get another breaker bar. Probably want to get one that's longer so you have more leverage. And go ahead and take it on off. I'm just gonna grab the air gun and just blast it and get that 17 off. Real easy, the air gun had gotten that 17 on out. There it is, and then there's a harmonic balancer. Make sure to get the key. Sometimes it will stay on the crank and sometimes it will fall out. In this case it fell out. And it just goes into that little cutaway right there. We're almost to the timing belt, but now I gotta take out this oil dipstick. You just kind of shake it and then twist it and it should come out. There it goes. Now I want to be taking off the 10s that hold on the timing cover. I'm gonna loosen up the belt, loosen up the tensioner right there, gonna be a 14, and then slide the belt on off. Spent quite a bit of time cleaning up the block, just cleaning up some of that dirt. I did take off the crank sensor and the tensioner just so I could clean up behind there. I did notice there's a lot of RTV on here. On the front main seal, there was quite a bit on the oil dipstick tube and a lot of excess coming out of the oil pan. I just grabbed a razor blade and just cut off the excess because it was quite a bit flabby. I also noticed that the oil pump, the water pump, the timing belt, and the tensioner are all pretty new. So again, I'm not sure if this engine has been rebuilt, but I think it's at least been replaced. But I am going to put on the timing belt as of right now. I'm going to put back on this washer that was on here. It would cut the block itself, so it'll go on like that. And then the tensioner, I'm going to bolt it up here. For now, I'm just loosely bolting that on just so it doesn't fall off. Also gonna put on the timing gear right here. I have the crank on top dead center. If you already kind of have it close, you could just move it with your hand and get it up on there. So I'm gonna put this belt on here, slide it forward, get it up on there. Then I'm gonna put the belt up on the cam gear. I'm going to put it around the water pump. Alright, so it's around there. Push it. Push the crank gear forward or towards the motor. Push the belt around the tensioner on there. Now I'm going to tighten up the tensioner just a little bit. Hope you guys were able to tell what I was doing. If not, I'm going to give you a quick run through. On the cam gear, you're going to have to bring it forward to slide the timing belt in there. After you slide it on in there, slide it on back so it won't come back out. You see these little ridges here? They're going to prevent the timing belt from coming on out. Of course, make sure that is on top dead center. Then you're going to bring the timing belt all the way up to the cam gear. Make sure that's on TDC as well, and that you don't have too much slack. If there's too much slack, then that means you're probably off a tooth, and just readjust it. Going to come onto the water pump and put it all the way on the water pump, closer to the block. The reason why you want it closer to the block is because those grooves are deeper, so it's going to be able to bite down closer up on there and give you that additional slack, so you'll be able to get on the tensioner. The tensioner, like I said, you're going to put that on loosely. Once you're ready to put the belt around here, you're going to slide the tensioner on forward, and then you should be able to just easily slide that belt on. You shouldn't have to stretch it or anything like that. Once everything is on, slide the tensioner on back. There is like a little barb that it will sit on. After that, you're going to put the spring on for the tensioner. If you guys see it right there, it's hooked onto that hole right there on the bracket, and then it hooks right there onto the block. After you have that, you see that arm on the tensioner, you'll be able to get a wrench up in here. You'll just easily get it up in here and push up on it so you could get rid of all the slack in the belt. That will push the tensioner on up, and that's how it gets rid of the slack. Any slack on this side will be all caught up. You should be able to just move the belt a little bit, but it does have some tension on there on both sides. This side is tighter, and this side will be just a little bit looser. You don't want it too tight. You should be able to just move the belt like this You shouldn't be able to do a full turn, but you can see how it's able to move a little bit. But you just tighten up that tensioner. I think it's about 35 foot-pounds. I'll go ahead and put it up on there for the official torque. Everything is on there for the timing belt, man, so I feel a whole lot better with everything being on time. I'm gonna put this crank sensor back up here since I did take that off. Just held on by 110. Before I start throwing parts on it, I'm going to spin the motor over about 3-4 times just to make sure that everything still lands on top dead center after each turn. You want to turn it counterclockwise. If for some reason it doesn't land on top dead center, go ahead and redo it until you get everything correct. I did clean up these parts that I had taken off in order to get to the timing belt. I'm going to start putting things back on, starting with this lower timing cover. There was only 4 bolts that I had taken off, so it is missing 2 bolts. I'm going to put 2 down here and then 2 up here. I'll leave these 2 empty, so whenever I get 2 extra bolts, I can easily just install them into here without having to take stuff off. The next thing I'm going to put on is the oil dipstick tube, but I am going to be changing out this O-ring that is on there. I did purchase it from Honda, part number 91302-GE0-000, and there is the O-ring. I'm going to go ahead and put in the pulley. Don't forget the key. All I'm missing is the valve cover and the top cover for the cam gear. Before I do that, I am going to do the valve lash for the valve train. And just how I showed you guys before, we're going to start on the first cylinder, so top dead center, the up spoke pointing up, and we're going to start on number 1 cylinder. Going to be 7 thousandths for the intake side and then 9 thousandths for the exhaust side. Then after that, the up spoke is going to be pointing forward, and from there going to be doing the number 3 cylinder, going to be able to do the intake and the exhaust, again 7 thousandths, 9 thousandths. After that, the up spoke will be pointing down. I'll be able to do number 4 cylinder, same thing, intake, exhaust. And then the last cylinder, the up spoke is going to be pointing towards the rear of the car, and I'm going to finish it off with the number 2 cylinder. I'm going to give it a check before I take it apart. It's a little loose. Same for this one, a little loose. That one's pretty much perfect. That one's a little loose. Valve lash is all finished up, and as well I did install the timing belt upper cover. Also, I did take the car off of the jack stand, put it back on the ground, and torque down the wheel to 80 foot-pounds. Next thing I gotta do is put on the valve cover, but I am going to be changing out those gaskets. My memory card did get filled up, but I continued working on the motor. I did clean up the valve cover and change out the gaskets. The full gasket set, so the spark plug grommets as well as the grommets for the bolts. Also did put the silicone Honda bond on each corner there just to make sure it does not leak. The gasket set I use is from Felpro, part number VS50500R. The other gasket I did change out is underneath here on the oil cap. It's often overlooked. Right there, if you guys can see, that is the gasket I changed out. Here is the original gasket. As you could tell, I had a hard time getting it out, and honestly, it's not even rubber anymore. It's pretty much plastic. I got the new gasket from Honda, part number 15613. PC6000. I already did test drive the car, and it definitely idles smoother. It idles anywhere now from 350 and 500 RPMs. But now hopefully this will keep my check engine light from coming back on for the misfires. If not, I'm going to take a look into the spark plug wires or into the distributor, but hopefully this will be it. Hope you guys got some good information on this video. I try to show you as much as I can. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below in the comment section. If you guys haven't even checked out my channel, go ahead and do so. I have tons of videos on my projects. I try to show you as much as I can and tell you as much as I can so you're able to get the job done on your car also. Check out the channel and consider subscribing if you aren't already subscribed. This is going to be it for this video, guys. I'm gonna have to catch you on the next one, player.